Danger of grass fires lingers despite recent rains.
Plus, we're looking at some thunderstorm chances. A few of those might be on the strong side. We'll take a complete look in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And what another hike in interest rates means for your wallet.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Despite scattered storms, most of the 4 states is still very dry and the risk of grass fires remains high. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes as we continue into one of the hottest summers ever recorded. Firefighters warn about the dangers of grass fires. Jasper County Emergency Manager Keith Stammer says the prolonged heat has dried out the grass so much that any kind of spark will ignite. He says it could be something as simple as a cigarette or even a hot muffler on a car. Reddings Mill Deputy Fire Chief Ronnie Metcalf says most of the recent grass fires they've responded to have required mutual response.
What I can tell you right now is we're responding to several grass fires a day, and with the conditions that we're experiencing with the drought, we're having to help our neighbors and they're having to help us on almost all of those fires. So it becomes a team approach at this point.
Metcalf says folks should avoid burning even as it cools down and rains over the next couple of days. Well, both of those things, rain and cooler temps, are definitely a welcome change. But how long will they stick around? Chris?
Well, we've got a few days of these things. I've been showing you this lately because of our extreme temperatures. Now I can show you this with some good news. So, of course, almanac numbers will fill out in full later today. Normal high 71, normal low is 70, and we are going to be extraordinarily close to both of those. Thanks to all of this. Look at this rain that's just been giving us great relief so far this morning. I mean, just check it out. All this rain on the radar. Now, you do see back off to the west, it is clearing out, but don't worry, it's not done. Now, this rain yesterday, some of those storms got a little ugly and brought us some, not only just storm reports, but some damage reports. We're talking wind damage in Berry County, and there was a pool that was blown over in near Pineville in McDonald County because of yesterday's storms. And there is that slight chance that a few of them may get a little bit on the strong side again today. Now, the good news is any risks, tornado and hail, both extraordinarily low. Like yesterday, it's a wind threat that we're focused on, that we could see some winds around 50, 60 miles an hour with the stronger storms. The rain has kept temperatures in check all day across the region. I mean, look at that, 70s still, approaching 80 degrees. As we go through the day, we do get that break, and then as the overnight comes upon us, the thunderstorm chances will increase once again as we head overnight tonight and into tomorrow. So again, a brief break, still cloudy, storms start to build back in, lows in the 70s, and ultimately dropping into the upper 60s overnight. We're going to take a look at the full forecast and tell you just how long the rain will stick around a little bit later. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, JetBlue Airways has agreed to buy Spirit Airlines for $3.8 billion. If the deal is approved, it would create the nation's 5th largest airline. The agreement comes after Spirit's attempt to merge with fellow budget carrier Frontier Airlines fell apart. Spirit is known as a no-frills airline that charges super cheap fares, and it's not clear what future pricing would look like if the company joins JetBlue. The deal comes as many airlines are struggling to meet demand and airfare prices are going up. The second quarter GDP numbers are out, showing the U.S. economy shrank at a rate of 0.9% from April through June. This is the second straight quarter of economic contraction, which typically indicates a recession. However, the Biden administration and the Federal Reserve Chairman insist the economy is not in a recession. The Fed raised interest rates 0.75 of a percentage point yesterday in an attempt to slow down the economy and rein in inflation. Well, a big surprise in Washington on a bill that could affect Americans for generations. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin has reversed his opposition to legislation meant to help reduce inflation, lower prescription drug costs, and fight climate change. But Republicans oppose the measure, and its passage is not guaranteed. Nancy Cortez is at the White House, where this is welcome news for President Biden.
2 weeks after walking away from a climate deal, West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin embraced one last night with a compromise dubbed the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. The centerpiece, about $370 billion worth of clean energy tax incentives and grants, including $7,500 tax credits for many Americans who buy electric cars. The bill would also allow Medicare to negotiate the price of some prescription drugs and cap out-of-pocket drug costs for seniors at $2,000 a year. Democrats say the cost of all this would be more than offset by a new minimum tax on corporations.
This is a bill that truly is about fighting inflation, bringing down costs for families, and putting the country on a sounder economic footing.
And the motion to concur with an amendment is agreed to.
The surprise deal was announced just hours after the Senate passed a major bipartisan bill to boost U.S. computer chip production. It all comes amid an otherwise gloomy week of economic news, with consumer confidence down for a third straight month in the face of record inflation.
Most families were paying less than $2 a gallon at the pump just 2 years ago.
These are not normal times.
Yesterday, the Fed hiked short-term interest rates another 3/4 of a point in a bid to bring prices back down as customers and business owners struggle.
We're not buying anything extra. We're buying only what we need to provide the meals that we allot for.
It's the hardest it's ever been to be in business with every cost going up.
President Biden dubbed this new climate bill historic. It would be the largest investment in clean energy here in the U.S. ever. And it's the result of secret negotiations over a package that, until yesterday, appeared to be dead. Nancy Cortez, CBS News, the White House.
That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, this robot is on patrol in Italy. Find out how it's protecting the environment. And later, we're making fried cheese curds as the Mr. Food Test Kitchen continues its state fair tour. Robots are on the move across Italy, on land and in the water, with one job: to protect the environment. CBS's Tina Kraus has the story.
This four-legged robot isn't just strolling in the park. It's a machine on a mission. Researchers at University of Pisa in Italy programmed the dog-looking bot named Animal to track the health of plants and record the impact animals have on their habitat.
For example, wild boars can ruin the terrain, can ruin the ground and prevent the proper growth of new small plants.
Equipped with sensors and cameras, Animal does jobs only people could do before, like measuring the height of trees and tracking conservation efforts. The brainy bot can even go unsupervised, deciding for itself where to explore.
He's very agile and is also able to walk over really irregular and rough terrain.
But he's not completely self-sufficient. He needs a battery change every 2 hours. Robotic technology is booming in popularity across Italy. Earlier this year, officials rolled out a robotic dog named Spot, designed by Boston Dynamics to patrol the ancient ruins of Pompeii. Other robots are diving deep to explore underwater marine habitats, helping scientists map seabeds faster, since bots don't need to breathe and can stay on the job longer than people. Researchers hope to put more roaming robots on Earth to help protect and preserve it for years to come. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Well, that robot, known as Animal, will soon be heading to the Italian Alps to help researchers explore a completely different environment. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
We're at the fair today, eating our way from one end of it to the other. So join us as we sink our teeth into a Midwest specialty.
But first, Chris Warner sinks his teeth into your complete forecast.
Well, it has been one heck of a month, hasn't it? Look at all this red. All this red, by the way, these are above normal temperature days. There's only 2 below normal, and as you'll note, 0 normal days in the month of July. That's how hot it's been, but it is changing. If you haven't stepped outside or haven't looked out a window, or maybe you live under a rock, or you're in a place like our studio with 0 windows and you've spent all day in some place like that, it's changing. So again, not as hot today. In fact, we're actually going to be pretty close to normal. One normal day at least. Wet weather is going to stick with us all the way through Sunday. Unfortunately, though, as soon as we kick off August and the dog days of summer, boy, I tell you, it is going to be summer again very quickly. 7th and range line, it is cloudy as far as the eye can see. I actually just got off phone with my wife, and she said it's still raining in Joplin. It's not raining here at the station. That's because rain's starting to taper off. So we'll take a look at the radar and show you what's going on and what's coming up down the road. Right now, 77, only feels like 78. And 77. It's only 77 degrees right now. I mean, that is fantastic. It's a little muggy out there because of all the moisture and all the rain, but otherwise, look at these temperatures. I mean, Sedan, Neodesha are a couple of the warm spots. Parsons, Chautauqua at 80. Now, Stockton, for some reason, they're at 85, but everybody else is in the upper 70s, and it's really nice. As we go through the night, we do get a break in the rain showers, not necessarily in the cloud cover, but in the rain showers. Then they'll build back in, and we have increasing thunderstorms as we head through the night. 77 by midnight, and then look at these overnight lows in the 60s. In the 60s to start your Friday. It's going to be wonderful. Here you can see the wide view of all the rain. Now, a lot of the thunderstorm activity so far has been staying to our north, just between us and Kansas City along I-70. We've just been socked in with the showers, but as you can see out to the west, it is clearing. Now, yesterday, we got some severe thunderstorms along and south of I-44. These are storm reports. These are wind reports, hail reports in McDonald County. Wind damage reports coming out of Berry County, and we do have that chance for a strong storm or two again tonight. So anything we see, tornado risk is very low, hail risk is very low. We might see some winds 50 to 60 miles an hour, especially if you're in this brown shaded area here. Otherwise, just some good old-fashioned thunderstorms bringing us relief. Check out the next 24 hours. Do you remember one of the last times I showed you this, that all the way down here, this mark was through the ceiling? You couldn't see the temperature. It was behind the forecast icon because it was in the hundreds. You can see all these temperatures now, but you can also see thunderstorm chances stick with us. So 70s through most of the day, pushing maybe 80 by the afternoon. And on the future track, through the rest of today, like I said, we get that break, still some scattered storms around. We get a little pause in the activity, and then you can see as we head into tomorrow morning, more widespread thunderstorm activity rolls through the area, and that remains the trend as we head through Friday afternoon. More scattered showers and thunderstorms. They come back, by the way. This is Saturday. You can see they come back again, and will stick with us through at least Sunday before it gets really ugly again. So the rain tracker picking up on where we may see some of the heavier rain around the area, and you can see points along and south of I-44, like Veneta, for example, could get a pretty good soaking. The rest of us are going to get rain, and that's the most important part. Not a lot to do, not enough to really do much for the drought, but at least we got rain. You can see the storm chances all the way through Sunday, maybe even some early on Monday. Temperatures in the 80s, but as soon as this system clears on out and gets done with its thing, unfortunately, look at Tuesday and Wednesday, 100 and 103. So for right now, give your AC a break, give yourself a break, enjoy this while it lasts because summer will return and it will be quite toasty when it does. But for right now, we're getting some much needed rain. One last thing I wanted to touch on just because we've been talking about it. Some of these areas, if you get under a thunderstorm with really heavy rain, flash flooding is a possibility simply because, as we've said, the ground is still extraordinarily dry and it's not going to soak in all this rain at once. So just be careful around low-lying areas and even urban areas. Watch out for some flash flooding if you get into some heavy rain. Otherwise, the steady rains we've been seeing are just enough. They're not going to flood us, but they're just going to give the ground a nice drink, give the crops a nice drink. They get something out of this before it gets hot again.
And they are thirsty. They need that
very,
drink.
very thirsty.
All right. Thanks, Chris. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Specialist Neil Lamont in the U.S. Army. The soldier from Oronogo, Missouri, joined the service in 1996. He was stationed in Germany for 10 years. To Neil Lamont, we thank you, our four-state hero. Deep fried cheese curds are irresistibly good, and you can find them at just about any state fair. Howard continues his Mr. Food Test Kitchen series on the road to find out how to make these golden nuggets of goodness.
When we think of fair foods, we usually think of the classics. You know, funnel cakes, foot-long hot dogs, and of course, cotton candy. But these days, we have so many more options. That's why this week, we're exploring all kinds of fair foods. And today, we're highlighting a staple that's popular at fairs throughout the Midwest. It's deep-fried cheese curds. And in case you're not familiar with cheese curds, they're a byproduct formed during the cheese-making process. Curds are like cheese, yet a bit rubbery, and they sort of squeak when you bite into them. At the Minnesota State Fair, they've been enjoying these golden nuggets of goodness for over 40 years. To make them, all we do is soak cheese curds in a mixture of buttermilk and beer for a bit before we drain them and toss them in seasoned flour. Then we'll deep fry them until they're golden. Let me tell you, these babies are hard to resist with their crispy coating and their ooey gooey center. These are not to be missed. And for those of you who can't wait for the fair or just want to make these tonight, we have an easy recipe for you. To get it, all you have to do is go to our website and search for fried cheese curds. I know you'll be glad you did. You know, I love the fair and all the food that comes with it. Once I polish these off, I'm gonna check out a few more rides. I'm Howard from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, and I'm having a blast, cause everywhere I turn, there's lots more. Ooh, it's so good.
I absolutely love cheese curds. You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
So take a look at the future track. 3 a.m. tomorrow, we're going to break from the storms, and then they will be back with a vengeance. Nothing necessarily strong or severe, just some good heavy rain. That sticks with us through at least Sunday before summer makes an unpleasant return by the first week of August.
All right, what do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, the results of a new study might encourage some of us to go above and beyond when it comes to regular exercise. The connection between more exercise and a lower risk of death in Health Watch. Plus, McDonald County school leaders receive critical training on how to spot potential school violence before it begins. And an Anderson, Missouri police officer is raising funds to provide cooling units to people in need in the city. Hope you join us for those stories. A whole lot more, of course. It's all coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
And most importantly, enjoy those cooler temperatures today.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Rain chances.
All right. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.